HMS Audacity was a British escort carrier during the Second World War, notable for being the first of its type to serve in the Royal Navy. Originally built as the German merchant ship Hanover, it was captured by the British in the West Indies in March 1940. The ship was initially renamed Sinbad, then Empire Audacity, before being converted and commissioned first as HMS Empire Audacity and later as HMS Audacity. At the outbreak of World War II, the Hanover took refuge in Curaçao, Netherlands Antilles. In March 1940, the ship attempted to return to Germany as a blockade runner. On the night of March 7-8, she was spotted between Hispaniola and Puerto Rico by the light cruiser Dunedin and the Canadian destroyer HMS Assiniboine. Ordered to stop, Hanover ignored the command and tried to reach neutral Dominican waters. Intercepted by Dunedin and Assiniboine, Captain von Schaffe ordered the seacocks opened and the ship set ablaze. A boarding party from Dunedin managed to close the seacocks, and Hanover was taken under tow, though it took 4 days to extinguish the fire. The ship arrived in Jamaica on March 11th, and Acting Lieutenant A.W. Hughes of Dunedin was mentioned in dispatches for his efforts in securing Hanover. Most of the damage was to the electrical system. Hanover was renamed Sinbad, issued a UK official number, and given new code letters. Her port of registry was changed to Kingston, Jamaica, and she sailed under the British flag. Among her cargo were 29 barrels of pickled sheep pelts, which were offered for sale by tender in August 1940 after being declared a prize of war. Sinbad was renamed Empire Audacity as part of the Ministry of War Transport's fleet of Empire ships and commissioned as an ocean boarding vessel on November 11th. Her port of registry was changed to London, and she was placed under the management of Cunard White Star Line Limited. On January 22, 1941, she was sent to Blythe Dry Docks and Shipbuilding Co. Limited to be rebuilt as an escort carrier. With Britain facing a shortage of aircraft carriers and vulnerable shipping in the mid-Atlantic Gap due to U-boat attacks, the Admiralty saw small carriers as part of the solution and converted several merchant ships, including Empire Audacity. At 300 feet or 91 meters, she was the largest ship ever handled at Blythe. Locals were puzzled why the superstructure of a seemingly sound ship was being scrapped during a period of ship shortages. Empire Audacity was commissioned on June 17, 1941, becoming the Royal Navy's first escort carrier. HMS Empire Audacity conducted trials in the Clyde, where a Grumman Martlet from 802 Naval Air Squadron made the first deck landing on July 10. From July 19 to 21, a detachment of aircraft was stationed aboard the ship. Due to the rapid conversion to an escort carrier, she lacked a hangar deck, so all aircraft had to be stored on the flight deck. The Admiralty was not fond of her merchant name, so on July 31, 1941, HMS Empire Audacity was officially renamed HMS Audacity. Audacity entered full service carrying 8 Martlet fighters from No. 802 Squadron FAA. Unlike later practices that focused on anti-submarine patrol aircraft, Audacity's air group consisted solely of fighters. This was due to her role in supporting Gibraltar convoys, where the primary threat was seen as the German long-range Focke-Wulf FW-200 Condor reconnaissance and bomber aircraft. Audacity took part in 4 convoys during her brief service. Convoy OG-74 departed from Britain on September 13, 1941. On September 21st, a German Condor bomber attacked the convoy, hitting the rescue ship Walmer Castle with its bombs. A fighter from Audacity successfully shot down the bomber. However, the damage to Walmer Castle was severe, and she had to be scuttled by an escorting corvette. Convoy HG-74 departed Gibraltar on October 2nd and arrived at the Clyde on October 17th without incident. Convoy OG-76 left for Gibraltar on October 28. During the voyage, Martlets from Audacity shot down 4 Condors, marking the first aerial victory for Eric Winkle Brown. One Martlet was lost in action. Convoy HG-76 sailed from Gibraltar on December 14th with only 4 serviceable Martlets aboard Audacity. The convoy faced attacks from 12 U-boats. Audacity's Martlets shot down 2 Condors, and on December 17th, U-131 was engaged. Though U-131 shot down a Martlet, the submarine was unable to dive and was scuttled by her crew, who were captured. As Audacity moved away from the convoy on the night of December 21st, one of the merchant ships fired a snowflake flare, silhouetting her against the sky and exposing her to the German U-boats. The submarines had orders to target her specifically due to the significant trouble she had caused both at sea and in the air. U-751, commanded by Kapitän Lieutenant Gerhard Bigalk, fired the first torpedo, hitting Audacity's engine room, causing her to settle by the stern. 2 more torpedoes struck, igniting aviation fuel and blowing off her bow. Audacity sank approximately 500 miles or 800 kilometers west of Cape Finisterre, going down in 70 minutes. 73 of her crew perished. Survivors, including pilot Eric Brown, were rescued by the corvettes Convolvulus, Marigold, and Penstemon. German propaganda mistakenly claimed they had sunk a 23,000-ton Illustrious-class aircraft carrier. Audacity had been operating outside the convoy, a practice that the Admiralty later deemed too dangerous and subsequently banned. The following is a German account of the sinking. Senior Lieutenant Bigalk. I had only been at sea for a few days when I had to crash dive one afternoon because of an English plane. In the listening instrument I heard screw noises underwater and took them to be coming from a convoy. I told myself that I should get to the surface as quickly as possible to see what was actually the matter. So I came to the surface very soon, and only a few minutes later I saw clouds of smoke, and a few minutes after that I saw the outlines of some destroyers. Aha, there is a convoy. We were very glad to have met a convoy only a few days after our departure. First of all, I approached the convoy to see how things were. I discovered a number of destroyers zigzagging wildly, and furthest to the left, next to the destroyers, I saw a large, long shadow surrounded by several destroyers zigzagging crazily. Suddenly, a wild firing of tracer bullets started up in the east. At this moment, my other U-boat comrades who were also going for this convoy had probably opened the attack. The destroyers took course for the tracer bullets. The long shadow, which I first took to be a tanker, zigzagged first eastward, then northward, presumably to get away from the convoy. I made for the large shadow immediately, to attack it. Suddenly, the shadow turned away sharply, and at the same moment, there was a great firing of rockets from the convoy. The whole area was as light as day. Other U-boats must have been attacking. 10 or 15 rockets hung over the U-boat as though spellbound. The destroyers nearby also started firing tracer bullets, and suddenly I saw in the light of the tracer bullets and rockets a large aircraft carrier lying in front of us. Good God, what a chance! An opportunity such as a U-boat commander does not find every day. The whole bridge was wildly enthusiastic. Now I was in a favorable position for attack. I had to fire. I fired several torpedoes, and then came the terrible tension while waiting to see if, or not, one of them hit its mark. Then suddenly a fiery detonation aft. A hit aft! The ship made a semicircle portside and then stopped, unable to maneuver. Apparently my torpedo had smashed her screws. I turned a short distance off to load new torpedoes. Down below in the forward compartment there was terrific crowding, since we had only left a few days before and the forward compartment was full of provisions and all sorts of impossible things necessary for an operational cruise. My torpedo mate and my torpedo crew worked like mad. We in the meantime were standing on the bridge, constantly watching the aircraft carrier, and were terribly excited lest the destroyers should approach and mess up this unique chance. But apparently the destroyers were furiously busy, for way back on the horizon there were bangs and detonations, and tracer bullets were being fired. Our comrades were doing their work. The torpedo tubes were reported clear for action, thank God. I made another attack, approaching the ship at a crawling pace so that she should under no account hear me. The water was phosphorescing like mad, and could only proceed very slowly so as not to be discovered by the aircraft carrier, which had stopped. I came nearer and nearer. I didn't care anymore. I had to get so near that my torpedoes could on no account miss, a gigantic shadow growing larger and larger all the time. I had approached so closely that no torpedo could possibly miss, and then I gave permission to fire. Seconds of great tension. There, hit forward, 20 meters behind the stem. A great detonation with a gigantic sheet of flame. A short time afterwards, another detonation in the middle, again a great column of fire. Hardly had the column of water subsided when a strong detonation was observed forward. Probably ammunition or fuel tanks had been hit. I presumed that petrol tanks or something of that kind had been blown up. I turned off and in doing so cast another glance at the aircraft carrier. The fore was already flooded and the deck was turning upwards. At that moment, destroyers were reported starboard. They were dashing at top speed towards the aircraft carrier, which was wildly firing distress signals, great stars bursting in the air. I was able to get away from the pursuit. I got a rain of depth charges, but that was to no avail to the English. I escaped.